Hi there, welcome to Nex-Tech University. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Olga Detrixhe, and I have today with me Kris, who's our rep for Southwest Kansas, and we're going to talk about an infinite war that will never end against cybersecurity. So, in case you didn't know, Kris and I are a little bit nerds. We like...
Speak for yourself.
That's right. We really like superhero movies, and every time a cool movie comes out, we get together the next day and we kind of talk about it. And a lot of times, surprisingly, the conversation kind of blends. And as we were talking about the new Avengers movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet, we're not going to give anything away, so you can keep watching, but you definitely got to check it out. We really realized that it was such a cool concept that lends itself so well to what we do with IT. You know, that sounds shocking or weird, but we're going to prove to you today that it actually fits really well. So let's get started and talk a little bit about some of the threats in the past and how cybersecurity has evolved over the last couple of years. Kris, why don't you get us started?
Okay. Basically, I just kind of want to start with talking about how this ongoing war, as Olga was talking about, just a few years ago in 2012, you had a handful of threats that were out there. And so as time goes on, as every year passes, a new threat seems to kind of present itself. So this slide here kind of shows we had a handful of threats, and then if you look at kind of present day, the villains have multiplied by quite a bit. So there's a lot more to worry about. So as a result, we have to have a lot more protection to kind of keep you safe. So.
That's right. So because we have a lot more villains, we need a lot more superheroes, right? And continuously evolve. And so that's what we've really seen with the cybersecurity landscape. It has really evolved greatly over the last couple of years. From it used to be you had a firewall and you were pretty much good. Firewall, AV, you were kind of set. And so now we have a much more layered approach, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about the Avengers Infinity War movie, in that movie there's a lot of different stones in there, and all the stones have a different power, right? And so all the stones together can do something pretty special, but they're at their best whenever they're all put together. So what we've kind of put together here is our security gauntlet, and we'll kind of go through what each of those superpowers is and how they can work together to keep you as safe as possible.
Cool. All right, so let's start off with our security gauntlet. And just like the villain in the movie, you're going to have to best collect all of them, right, to kind of give you best protection.
Yeah, absolutely. And the baseline where you want to start is with a firewall. And if you're not familiar with what a firewall does, you always hear that term, but do people know what that does? A firewall, simply put, is a box of rules. And you basically put that, to guard your infrastructure, all the traffic coming in and out of your network. So that's the baseline. That's the bare minimum that you'd want to have. And that's going to protect you from, antiviruses or viruses and things like that. There's going to be network antivirus on there. It's going to allow you to be able to make actual tweaks to your network so you can make certain rules where you can't go to certain websites and things like that, and kind of keep you safe. So this is the starting point for sure.
And it's kind of like it protects your network from the outside world, right? It kind of sits between anything that happens on your network and then the outside world.
And it kind of protects the outside world from you as well, a little bit as well.
There you go. There you go. Very good. So for people that say, okay, I have a router to use to connect to the internet, and I'm protected through that, what would you tell them?
I tell them that a router, really all it does is it just routes traffic for you. A firewall routes traffic, but it also looks at the security piece first before it tracks it on. So if he sees a shady character coming through, it puts a stop to it and doesn't let it go through. A router just lets things go through without really looking in depth at what's going in and out of your network.
Yeah, and I really love our engineer always refers to a firewall or not having a firewall. That's like leaving your doors and windows unlocked and wide open. So anybody could walk into your house. So if you don't have a firewall yet, give us a call, because that's really, as you said, kind of the essential stone that gets your security gauntlet started.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay, so the next piece that we've heard about is how firewalls really have evolved, and there's an enhanced protection to it now, and there's some more features. Maybe you've heard the term sandboxing, maybe you've heard the term SSL DPI. So what are all these terms, and why do we need to step it up now?
Sure, absolutely. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, more threats are coming out all the time, and so as a result, we have to find new ways to protect ourselves. And so one of the things that happens these days is the bad guys have gotten kind of clever, and what they do is
Just like the villains in the movies, they're getting better
Absolutely.
and getting better tools every time.
she knows what she's talking about. So basically, what they're doing these days is they're going in and they're finding people that are in your address book, and they're emailing you things that makes it look like it's one of your friends or one of your coworkers and things like that, and trying to get you to open up an attachment, things like that. So we've had to come up with advanced features to protect you from those types of things. And one of those is sandboxing. And what that does is, let's say you do click on one of those attachments and try to open it. What that will do is it will open up in a different dimension first and look at it first before it allows you to open it on your local machine, therefore kind of keeping you a little bit safer than you would be before. And then,
Gotcha.
oh, go ahead.
So firewalls previously didn't do that?
No, this is an advanced feature that's
Okay.
kind of come out recently.
Okay, so where they're actually looking at the attachments that are coming through and not just the regular traffic.
Correct. Yes, it's
Okay.
actually taking a deep dive into the actual files and things like that are coming through. And then also too, there's websites out there that used to be, only certain websites were encrypted, and now even the bad websites, they're kind of getting clever,
Yep.
and they're making those encrypted. And so it used to be
Absolutely.
your firewall would let those through as long as it was an encrypted website. But now we have features here where we can actually have the key unlock the encryption, take a look around before allowing you to go visit a website.
Cool. So we got our stone that's like the basis of all of it that gets you started, and then we got the magic stone that takes your stuff and takes it to a different dimension to let it explode before it blows up the world, right? Your world.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
You got it.
Okay, so if you have the firewall and you have even the advanced features, and you said that it already has antivirus, so why do I still need antivirus for my PCs?
Gotcha. Yeah, so the firewall will have some gateway antivirus, which kind of protects the traffic kind of coming into the building initially, but at your actual workstation, you have people that are sitting at their desk and they're trying to go places and things like that. And if they go to a bad place, you want to be able to protect yourself. So you want to be able to have something that's going to detect, hey, this is a bad place, and not allow you to go there. Or if you do go there somehow, a way to remove that threat and things like that. So also too, in this day and age, people are more mobile. And so if you take
That's
your
right.
device and you leave and go home or whatever, so you're not on the network
That's
anymore,
right.
so you still need protection when you're away from the office.
That's right, because you could have an employee maybe work remotely and maybe use their computer, their work computer, but not necessarily be on the network, and then go and get a virus. They don't even realize they have a virus, and then they come back into the office and they connect to the network, and boom, now the virus can spread everywhere on the other PCs and devices that are connected to that network, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Man, that's pretty scary.
It's a little scary.
That's why it's called the reality stone. It's giving you some harsh realities here.
It's a big dose of reality right there.
Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is patching. That's definitely something that's a lot of times is underrated. And a lot of times can be kind of painful because you actually have to remember to do patches. And even if you have your PC set up on automated updates and automated patches, sometimes if your PC is off, it doesn't go through and things like that. So it seems something that's so simple but can actually cause quite a bit of harm if you're not diligent about it, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there's a reason why they send those patches out. If you have a cell phone of some sort, I'm sure you get all these, notifications that you have an update for the different applications and things like that. The reason those come out is because they're fixing bugs in the application, but they're also fixing vulnerabilities. So, the bad guys have found a way in through some sort of vulnerability in the program. And so by patching that, the manufacturer is coming up with a way to defend against that. And so if you don't keep your applications and your software and everything up to date, then you're leaving yourself at risk. So you definitely want to do that. We run into people that you look at their home PC, for example, and they haven't updated their Windows updates in 6 months or a year or whatever, and so those people are a prime target. And what the thing is it's an easy fix. If you just do the patch and get yourself up to date, you could save yourself a lot of heartache.
And a lot of IT companies actually offer to take care of that for you, along with the antivirus and all that other stuff. They kind of make sure that they push it out automatically, and then they usually monitor it and make sure it does go through. And so if it doesn't go through, they'll contact you the next day and call you up and say, hey, we weren't able to apply this patch. Can you please, let me on your machine to let us apply this patch, or leave it on tonight so we can do it tonight. So that you kind of have a little bit more of a fail safe there, and somebody who kind of looks over your shoulder and makes sure you actually do the patches. As you kind of mentioned, your iPhone's pretty diligent about bugging you about that, and Windows can be, but they certainly are not always that diligent about it.
No, absolutely, yeah.
And surprisingly, a large number of issues really arise from people having outdated software on their machines, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yep. So we can definitely take care of that for you by monitoring those things and making sure those patches are up to date. It's kind of like having your own little personal superhero protecting your network.
That's right, your Nex-Tech Avengers.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about RMM. That stands for Remote Management and Remote Monitoring and Management. That's kind of a fairly newer term that people are getting used to. Explain to us what that is and what that does and why it is important or it can help you in your security gauntlet.
Sure, absolutely. What this does is this allows us to kind of monitor your hardware. If you start to have a fan starting to fail or a hard drive starting to fail, some sort of an issue, we should be able to get a notification ahead of time and get that fixed, or at least get a plan together to kind of keep you from having any downtime. So it's just a good way to kind of have somebody kind of watching over things from afar, making sure that everything's running smoothly. If you do have an issue, we're here to help you out.
Does that not sound like a superhero?
Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about.
And the cool thing about remote management and monitoring is the fact that a lot of times issues are fixed before you even know anything happened. We've had so many instances where we were able to be on site. We maybe got notified that a server was failing, and then we were on site the next morning, and our customers weren't even aware that something was wrong, but we were waiting for them to open up their business, and we got it up in no time. Or, on the other hand, we are able to fix things remotely and we never even have to contact our customers. So that's a really, really cool, powerful tool that saves you a lot of time and saves you a lot of headache, really, because the worst part about IT is when they have to come and interrupt your day and try to fix things, and really it costs you a lot of productivity.
Agreed.
Very good. Okay. So security awareness training, let's talk about that. And I love that it's coined the soul stone. That goes clearly a lot deeper than just a tool to monitor your device. That seems like it has to do something with human error, which we know never happens, right? Humans are perfect.
That's right. Well, I am. I don't know about everybody else, but
that's right.
Yeah, this is actually probably almost the most important piece. So you can have all those other stones and you have everything else. You can do everything correctly, but if you have an employee that doesn't know what they're doing and they're going to bad places, it's kind of like having a security system and having everything. If you let somebody through the door, the security system isn't going to keep the bad guys out.
That's
so
true.
you can open up the door and let them in. And so the thing is, you can have all those security measures in place, and somebody could still screw it up and allow somebody to come in and make a mess of your network. So so what we recommend is making sure that your employees are up to date on all the latest cybersecurity training, so they know what to look for and they don't make those mistakes that put you at risk.
So, and the crazy thing is that the conversation really has changed here in the last couple of years. This used to not even be a thing probably 5 years ago. And now it is the soul stone, very truly, the very cornerstone of what people recommend and experts recommend when it comes to security. Really, a large number of errors really result in the fact that there's a human failure somewhere. And the other piece to it is that the bad guys have gotten just so good. I remember we used that training internally as well. And I remember getting an email and truly wondering whether I thought it was a real email until I remembered some of the training that kind of gives you a couple tips and tricks what to look for. But they are so real by now that really it's not the prince out of Africa that tells you won $1 million. Right. It's very real stuff that a lot of times is really relevant to customers' business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And they're not only just doing it online. You might get a phone call and they might say, hey, you need to log into your computer and go do these types of things and put you at risk. So you got to be careful. And if something sounds like it's not legit, think twice before acting. So.
Absolutely, before clicking. And especially they're exploiting a lot of big companies. The way they format their emails, Microsoft or Amazon or UPS or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So if you have anything that just doesn't sound familiar, definitely think twice. And the other thing is this specific training teaches you very specifically what to look out for and gives you tips and tricks to kind of, some clues to recognizing frauds. Very good. Awesome. So we have our security gauntlet. We're almighty and all powerful.
That's right.
Right?
Unbeatable.
Nothing can happen. Unbeatable.
That's it. You're good. Oh, wait, maybe not. No, you can have all those measures in place and still something could happen. That you could have, again, an employee could, just not be thinking that day and go to a bad site, and then you're compromised. So
how often have superheroes been beat? Never, right?
Well, if they do, they come back and they win in the end.
That's right. That's
what we're going to do.
That's
here,
what we're going to do as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if you do find yourself in that situation, what do you need to do? You need to have a backup plan. So if you do get compromised, you need to make sure that all your data and all your, your network settings and things like that are being backed up somewhere. And so, like Batman, he's always prepared, right? And so you need to always have a backup plan.
And that's a really new thought as well in the entire IT industry, because backup was always seen as, oh, your hard drive fails or your building catches fire or something like that. But backup is now really becoming an essential security play and an essential security piece in the security gauntlet. You really can't go without it.
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
So in case you fail, make sure you have the shark bait.
Yes, exactly.
I guess the bat shark repellent. That's what it is.
He's prepared for every situation, so you should be as well.
That's right. In case sharks come and get you at your business.
Mm-hmm. And one thing we want to talk about is there's a difference between different sorts of backup, right? So you can back up just your files and your folders, but if you really want to be protected, what you want to do is you want to take a full snapshot of your actual network. So if you have a server and it's compromised, you want to be able to have that, where we have all that stuff saved. So if you have a failure, a fire, a tornado, or whatever that might be, we have all that information saved. We can put it onto a new machine and get you up and going in no time.
How is that different from using any kind of backup that's out there? Because there's tons of backup solutions, and there's free backup services where you can just kind of drag your files into an online spot. How is that different?
Well, it's basically we're taking a full snapshot of all the settings on your network. So when you have a server in your business, when the technician comes out there and sets it up, they create accounts for all the users on your network and give all them permissions and things like that. And so at the end of the day, if you were to have an issue, you don't want to have to lose valuable time by us having to rebuild a new server all the way.
And also, I'm guessing all the different software programs, right? Because otherwise.
Yes.
Do you know where all of your recovery CDs are from when you bought your QuickBooks 6 years ago?
Yeah. So you could theoretically be down for days as opposed to maybe a few hours or that sort of thing. So.
Plus, it takes alone probably a day or two to just rebuild a server.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Well, thank you, Kris, for coming by today and helping us with some cybersecurity stuff. So some of this is pretty scary stuff, and rightfully so. All the stuff that's out there is pretty scary. But if you have your security gauntlet, that can at least help you prepare for some of it. And then if all fails, which eventually will happen, we can help you to definitely make sure that we can get you through the next steps. If you are interested in taking a look at where you are at on your security gauntlet, give us a call or email us or check out our website, nextech.com/cybersecurity. And we would love to come by and just kind of take an assessment and take an inventory and see how we can get you started. Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.